Hi, this is Ann from Design Bundles, and today I'm going to show you how to make a complex text effect with Adobe Illustrator. All right, let's get started. I'm in Adobe Illustrator, and I'm just going to come over here to Create New, then I'll come up here to Print, and I'll choose a letter here, and then we'll create. Now, I'm going to hit T on my keyboard to get to my text tool, and then I'll just click once on my artboard. And I'm going to type in design. I'll get on my selection tool, get on a corner, hold shift, and just drag. And then I'll put this in the middle. Just kind of want it to be big so everyone can see it, and also in the middle of my canvas. Okay, now let's make a copy of this. I'm going to Option and click and drag again to make a copy. I'll hit T and I'll double click in here and I'll type out bundles. Now I'll get back on my selection tool. I'll hold shift and I'll select both of them. And now I'm going to hit Shift Command C. That's Shift Control C on a PC. And that just centers both of them. Okay, let's change our font. To do that, I'll come up here to Character. And if you don't see this bar up here, you can go to Window, Control. So the font that I want is Impact. Just kind of a nice, bold font. This is a font that's on almost everyone's computer, so you can follow along easily. Okay, I'm going to get my Layers palette up, and then I'm going to create a new layer. My text is down here on the bottom layer, and I want to lock that, because right now I'm going to put a lot of things on top of this, and I don't want to accidentally select it. So let's hit M on our keyboard to get over to the rectangle tool. And I'm just going to draw, if you had this little no, you cannot draw here, it's because you're still on that locked layer. So come up here to layer 2 and you should be able to draw at that point. I'm going to click out here and drag just a little rectangle across the top. And I want this one to be white. So we'll come over here to our color palette. You can get to this under Window also, as well as all these other palettes. You can see the name of them and then just find it here. And let's change this to a very light blue. Maybe a little lighter even. Okay, now we'll copy and paste in front. That's Command C or Control C on a PC, and then Command F or Control F on a PC. So we've got two copies right in front of each other. Then we'll get back on our selection tool and just grab this upper handle and pull it down. Now the reason I like to do that is so that these two are exactly lined up. The bottom of this one and the top of this one are lined up exactly. Okay, so let's get a different color for this. I'm just going to double click my color over here and choose one, maybe a little more blue than this. Okay. Little bit darker. We'll say okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing to get another rectangle. So I'll click, I'll Command C and Command F, or Control C and Control F on a PC. And now we have two copies right on top of each other. I'll get on my selection tool and I'll just drag this down until I have a little thin one. And I think I'll make this one kind of a teal. Okay, and we'll do this one more time. We'll copy and paste in front, grab that handle and pull it down all the way to the bottom. And then we'll double click our color and change it. I think I want something a little darker and maybe a little more on the blue side for this. We'll say okay. Okay, so we have our 4 rectangles. And I'm on my selection tool. I'm going to just draw a box around all 4. That will select them all. And now we'll group those with Command G. I'll click and drag, and then while I'm dragging, I'll hold Shift and Option. That'll be Shift and Alt on a PC until it's right about the same area on the word bundles. So we have our 2 copies, and now I'm going to unlock this layer with the text on it. And I'm going to click and drag it over top, and this will bring the words to the front. Okay, so let's click on Design and Bundles. I want all these rectangles to go inside the text. So to do that, first, let's outline the text. And usually when I outline text, I'll save a copy off to the left. So I'll click this and I'll hold Shift and Option or Alt and drag it over here. Because it's always nice to keep a copy, that way you know what font that is, because when you create outlines on text, you lose the font. Okay, so let's select these two. Then we'll come up here to Type, Create Outlines. Okay, so now our text is in outlines. If you hit Command Y or Control Y on a PC, you can see the difference between the live type over here and the outline type here. So let's hit Command Y or Control Y again. And now I'm going to make these into one shape. Right now, Illustrator sees each letter as its own piece. But if we do a certain thing, we can have Illustrator see them as one piece, and that is creating a compound path. So let's go to Object, Compound Path, and Make, or Command 8 on your keyboard. Nothing changes when you do that, or at least it doesn't seem to, but you can see right up here that it's a compound path, and now Illustrator sees it as one shape. Okay, so when we create a mask, this text is going to be a mask, and it's going to mask these rectangles into it. So we've got our one shape on top, and then we've got the rectangles behind. We can just select all of that and hit Command 7. That will put all of those pieces inside the text. Now we're going to get our group selection tool, which is right over here. It's usually the one underneath, but I use it so often that it stays on top like this. So we'll click off, and then I'm going to just grab the text itself, not the rectangles, but just the text that has been outlined. And to do that, I click once on the very edge, and then I click again, and it'll get the next part of that group. And then I click one more time, and it's gotten the whole word. Now I'll click once again, and now I've got the other word. If we clicked one more time, it would also grab those rectangles, and I don't want that. Okay, so I'm going to make a copy of this with Command C, and then I'm going to just click off, and now I'll paste behind. So what this is going to do is just paste that text behind what we see here. So let's do that. It's Command B or Control B on a PC. And now we can see it behind there, the outlines of it. Now I want to add a really big stroke to this. So I'm going to get my stroke here, and then I'll come over to color, and I'm going to make it black. Then I'll highlight the stroke up here, and I'll hold Shift and arrow up, and this will make it jump really fast. You can go slowly by just hitting your arrow keys, but if you want it to increase a lot faster, you can hold Shift. So it looks like about 25 is getting all of this stuff in the middle to close in, which is great. But we have these little miter points, which are sticking up from the top and the bottom. And to avoid that, we'll have to come over to our stroke, and we can either do two things. We can set our limit to something low. This is the miter limit. So if we put this at 4, it gets rid of those. But I don't really need it to be that low because I plan on rounding this, and that is the other way to get those to disappear and have a nice rounded stroke on your text. Okay, so to do that, we'll come to the cap and choose the middle one. And then we'll come to the corner and choose the middle one. Okay. And now you can see we have a little bit of show through here. So what I'm going to do, I'll just hit M on my keyboard, which will bring me to my rectangle tool. And I'll draw a little box over that. I've got a stroke on it now, but if I hit Shift X, it'll switch the stroke to a fill. And I'll send it to the back by going to Object, Arrange, Send to Back. So now our text is done. Let's select all of it and group it with Command G. And that's it. You can get some really neat effects with clipping masks, which is what we did here. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, just hit the subscribe button and then hit the little bell beside that, and you'll be notified every time a new video comes out. All right, thank you.